In Sri Lanka, preparations for the 14th of November parliamentary election are underway as the island nation prepares to vote for in fact, 225 members to the parliament. Polling will be held on Thursday between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. local time at over 13,400 polling stations. Counting of votes will begin at 4:15 p.m. with postal ballots first and ballot boxes after they are shifted to the counting centres. And DD India's Ahmed Muin Farooqi joins us from Colombo to give us more details on what's happening in Sri Lanka. Hi, Dr. Farooqi. Litmus test, in fact, for Disanaike. Silent period is on. Take us through the preparations ahead of the polls.
Siddharth, yes, you mentioned rightly with regard to the kind of elections that we are having right now. It's a litmus test for the ruling NPP as well as President Anurakkumara Dissanayake, because they had only 3 seats in the previous parliament, which the president had dissolved one day after assuming his office as the president in September this year. Now they will be looking forward to getting as many seats as possible. In fact, they're looking at a possibility of getting a majority as well this time around, which is minimum of 113 seats. Yesterday, the Election Commission has mentioned that all preparations have been put in place for the election that will be held tomorrow from 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. There are 13,421 polling centers across the island. In fact, if you look at the buses behind me, these are the individual buses. From the counting centers, they will be taking the ballot boxes to each of the polling centers across the island. Okay. And I'm very close to the counting center here in Colombo, the Royal College. And there are 22 electoral districts, and each district has dedicated counting centers. Now, the Election Commission has also said that over 70,000 personnel from the police as well as other security forces will be deployed. Okay. The DIG of Sri Lanka Police as well as the police official spokesperson has said that in addition to the police, around 11,000 army personnel will also be deployed for the entire task of ensuring law and order as well as the smooth conduct of the elections tomorrow and for the counting process day after tomorrow. It's at the same time also important to mention that today the schools which are run by the government have been declared holiday, because many of the schools are polling centers themselves. So a lot of preparations are underway. It's at the same time I also want to mention that the government offices as well as the private offices have also been told that leaves, if required and wherever possible, have to be provided to each of the government officials as well as the private employees as well, just to ensure that the voter participation is at the maximum. We also remember that postal voting was held on 30th of October and 1st and 4th of November, as well as on spare days of 7th and 8th of November. There were about 730,000 government employees who were eligible for postal voting. And a good number have already voted, more than 90% have voted. So it needs to be seen how much of voter participation will be there in tomorrow's election, which will be a litmus test, which will be a very, very crucial one for the government to ensure majority and for smooth running of the government in the next 5 years.
Definitely, Dr. Farooqi, a litmus test for Anurakkumara Dissanayake. But you've had a word with people there. What are they saying? What are their expectations from these elections? What do they want? Why they are saying they'll go to vote?
Siddharth, you see, the 2022's peak of the economic crisis was something which has completely changed the dynamics here, the political landscape, the political dynamics in Sri Lanka. And that was visible in the manner that people had come out in an aggressive manner during the Aragalaya protest. Yeah. It was also visible in the presidential elections when people talked about changing the political landscape in the manner of voting out the old guard and bringing in a radical change. And that was how a party which had secured just about 3% of the votes in 2019 elections, the National People's Power, they secured a resounding victory, although they did not cross the 50% majority mark, but Anurakkumara Dissanayake of NPP won the elections in September. And now people have been talking about the same ideas that for the government to implement their promises and to take forward the economic reforms which President had promised during his campaign. They will need majority in the parliament, and they have been talking about how NPP can bring about the changes which they have talked about, like reducing the taxations as well as making things easier for the common man by even making the tariffs like electricity as well as fuel prices cheaper. And this is something which people have been looking forward to, and they want to give an opportunity for the current government, the new government, to probably take these policies further ahead. Siddharth.
Definitely. By what you're saying, I can make out that inflation is a major issue, and apart from that, they want to see a change in the government. This time around, when the results will be out, what are the odds that this NIK will be again remain in power?
You see, this NIK has secured his victory in September this year, and he will be in power as the president for the next 5 years. However, the parliament will basically, the parliament which comprises 225 members, they will be the ones who will be elected this time. 8,800 plus candidates are in the fray for the 225 seats, which includes 196 electoral district seats and 29 the national list, which is a nominated kind of a list based on the percentage of the votes that the party is secured. So what is being anticipated from many quarters and many experts is that NPP will be able to muster numbers more than 100. But exact number nobody is yet to bring out. There are no opinion polls here. However, surveys indicate that it's going to be a tough battle for NPP in key areas, and which is why President Naika has been wooing voters during his campaign for the parliamentary elections in these areas where he did not muster support in the presidential election. Key areas were north as well as the upcountry. The northern area, which comprises Jaffna, Wavunia, the Vanni, and so these areas have been key for him to ensure that he secures majority in these elections. However, the southern part had already voted for NPP in the presidential elections, and he hopes that they will be able to get even the floating, the bench vote, which could go from to any party. So this is something which the NPP is expecting. However, the opposition parties are saying that they have the experience and expertise to run the parliament. Running the government will be something else, and running the legislative body, the parliament, is something else which requires considerable experience and expertise. And the opposition members are saying that they have that already. As NPP, most of the candidates are first timers this time around. Siddharth.
Definitely, it will be a litmus test for Anurag Kumar Adesinaike, and also he'll be in power. But the thing is, what will happen in the parliament, that remains to be seen. But thank you so much for this wonderful analysis, Dr. Ahmed Moeen Faruqi. We leave it there.